terms of what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the Facebook advertising ecosystem, which is what I was talking about at the recent webinar with the crisis marketing webinar. And I talked about the Power 5, which is a specific strategy to help business owners get started with Facebook advertising. However, in that small 15-minute session, I didn't really have enough time to sort of talk a little bit more holistically around the whole ecosystem and how things need to be put together in order to actually implement the strategies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and give you a bit of a walkthrough and a bit of a guide around three key areas. One is the funnel, which is the process at which we bring people through a route to market strategy. The second part of it is the traffic, which is going to be a little bit more on the Power 5 strategy that I talked about last week. And then finally, I'm going to touch very lightly on CRMs. Now, CRMs are an absolute minefield. There's so many of them. They can do so many different functionalities that I can't go in depth on it today, but I'm just going to give you a light touch on that just to kind of give you some understanding around which CRMs do what and which ones are potentially viable depending on the size of your business. Okay, so before you advertise on Facebook, you have to get one thing really clear, and that is that it is a handful of different things that come together to create successful campaigns. It's not something that works in isolation. So you can't just have a great Facebook ad and then expect conversion on the back end of it. You can't have a bad offer because things just won't convert. You have to bring a number of different elements together, which then form a successful campaign. And the four things are the funnel, your creative and messaging, your traffic quality, and your offer. And essentially, if you just have one of those things, you've essentially got that red Facebook logo that we've got here. It's a bit tarnished, it's a bit rough around the edges. You might get something out of it, but it looks a bit, it's not going to do great. It looks a bit rough. But then if you bring it all together and it works really well and you have everything working in harmony, you get the nice, clean, perfect Facebook program. And that's essentially what we're always trying to achieve. But what most people do is they say, hey, well, I've got a funnel. Hey, well, I've put my messaging out there. I've run traffic. And quite often what you'll say is, or you'll hear is, oh, Facebook ads don't work. And the reason the Facebook ads perceivably don't work is because either the offer is wrong, the funnel is poor, it doesn't have the right flow, or the creative messaging just isn't intriguing or engaging the consumer to make a decision. So that's what we want them to do, is we always want someone to be taking an action and making a decision based on the flow that we put through the funnel, the quality of our creative and our messaging and what we're asking them to do and the process that we're asking them to follow. The traffic quality is all about getting the right people with the right message into that funnel. And then at the end of it, we need to have a really good offer. And we need to have an offer that is compelling, and it's something that people within that demographic that we're targeting who've gone through the process will desire. And ultimately, that's the key things that we're looking for. So the funnel is the sequence or the landing page, or your website, it's where you're sending people to. So if it's broken or your UX experience isn't good, it doesn't matter how good the ads are, it's going to fall flat on its face. And this is fundamental because a lot of people will just run traffic to a website, and that's why they think Facebook ads don't work. But if your website isn't compelling, if it doesn't give someone a reason to take an action, then that's why it's failing. It's not failing because of the Facebook ads or the people who are going to it necessarily. But if the UX experience and the user experience is not good from the outset, then you're always going to be pouring money down the drain. And that is just fact. The second part of it is your creative and your messaging. So your copy, your creative, your ads, are they appealing enough? Do they resonate? Are they clickbaity, which obviously Facebook are very hot on at the moment? And again, you have to get your messaging on the mark to ensure that we're getting the right consumer in line with your offer. So your targeting is creatively attracting the audience that you want. So the two together, your message, your creative, need to attract your ideal client avatar. So that's what we're trying to do with our creative and our messaging. When we're running our traffic quality, is how we're setting our campaigns up. How are we optimizing? What are we optimizing for? So Facebook gives you so many different options in terms of what you can optimize for, whether it be reach or brand awareness, whether it's leads, sales, add to carts. There's, you know, it's really wide in terms of what you can ask Facebook to do for you. So there's no point in asking Facebook to find you people to take a desired action that isn't in line with what you're asking them to do on your landing page or your funnel. So essentially, there's no point me asking someone that's interested in dogs to go and buy a cat bed, for instance, using that as a loose example. However, you know, no, my dog, he'd probably end up in a cat bed, but that's beside the point. However, what we're also looking to do is ensure that every piece of traffic and every dollar that we spend is well targeted, and that all of the campaign is going to resonate from the creative, the messaging, the individual that we're asking to take an action, who knows who is the demographic and strikes those behaviors that you want them to have, that says, yeah, I'm someone that goes out there and I purchase through Facebook. I click on ads and I go to websites and I purchase, and Facebook has the power to do that. So essentially what we're looking to do here is capture in the top three the right flow, the right message, and the right audience. And then underpinning everything is the offer. So again, your offer has to be compelling. You need it to be the right thing for your ideal client avatar. So if you offer the wrong thing, it falls on deaf ears. And so the cat bag analogy I just gave you right now is probably a good example of, you know, you've got all of the right components there, but then your offer at the end of it just wasn't relevant to everything else that you've done ahead of it. So you need to make sure that it all comes together as a full package, and that's when you're going to get a successful campaign.